because right after high school, I had left. Like, you know how usually in a Polynesian household, Pacific Islander household, usually
Yeah,
you stay there till like what, till you're 30 with kids.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You're probably 30, married with 6 kids, and they expect you to just stay there,
yeah,
kind of thing. But I remember after high school, I dipped. I left my mom and them. I was like, I'm sorry, but I gotta
yeah,
get out of here because
yeah,
I felt like everything was just kind of like things were repetitive. Like
yeah,
everything that
yeah.
was
It's a
happening,
cycle. It's a
yeah, it was
cycle.
just repetition. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to. And I remember telling my mom that too. I was like, I don't want to sit here and struggle. Like, I've seen what happened to you, and I don't want to,
Yeah,
like, I
yeah,
don't want that to happen to me. And I didn't want it to happen to my sisters and
yeah,
my little brothers. I was like,
yeah,
no. So as soon as I left, I was like, you know what? I tried my hardest to keep my brothers and my, my sisters afloat, because my mom wasn't as present either. That's
yeah,
why I was like, oh my gosh, like, and like I'm not the oldest, but I know my older sister had, you know, stuff of her own to deal with, and I felt bad because she took all my beatings and all,
yeah, yeah,
everything I had, and I was like, you know what? Now I got to step in, and I was trying, and I mean I still do try every day to try and keep my brothers and sisters afloat, because I just didn't like the fact that my mom had left it, like she left us, and now she left my siblings, like now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like they don't deserve this, like they
yeah.
should, somebody should be present, they need guidance. And so that's why I feel what you're saying about like them trying to drag the struggle with us.
Yeah, yeah, they try to repeat it, or
Yeah, and they're
and
like,
and,
you know what?
and, and also sometimes like I don't blame them because like that's all they know sometimes. Like, they're doing like unintentionally
Yeah,
because that's what they've known and been conditioned to do. But I do notice that behavior where like or that Polynesian parenting style where they expect their kids just to go through what they went through,
yeah,
right?
seriously,
And our generation, we have the different mentality. We want our kids to live a different life than what
yeah,
we went through. I want my kids to never go through what we're going through. So I don't want them to suffer. I don't want them to go through
seriously,
struggle. I don't want them, to go what I went through because I felt that. I felt that pain. All right. So it's crazy. It's just, I feel like it's two totally different mindsets.
yeah,
Um, and but yeah, I just wanted to share that with any parent or future parent or elder right now that's watching this. Like, you don't have to put your kids, to what you went through to so your kids can become somebody that you feel like they want. They feel like, okay, if I want if and I know so this is what this is the mindset of Polynesian parenting. I want my kid to be great, and the only way my kid to be great, they have to go through what I went through,
yeah,
and
they
it,
have
and
to.
and if they survive, they make it.
You're not wrong. Oh my gosh.
So that's their. I feel like that's their like logic behind everything. Like, okay, I'm tough, I'm strong. Okay, so I gotta put my kid to the same struggle,
Yeah,
and if my kid's strong enough and it makes it through, then they'll be that
and
they'll
we'll
be
go.
the
Yeah,
child they'll be the child that everyone expects you to be. And that's like, and it's a limited way of thinking, and like I can raise my kid with love and affection, and I can still make them to become a strong, powerful
right.
son and daughter. I don't need to raise my kid with discipline and
Yeah,
hard, tough love to make them tough. You can raise your kid with love and with affection, and they can still be as tough,
that's tough. Yeah,
uh, with love and affection. But they don't understand or know that there's a different route.
yeah,
So I just wanted to like kind of break down. So yeah, just put it out there for all those people out there, all those parents out there. Like, yeah, start showing your kids more love, affection, like, and stop putting your kids through the same struggle you went through,
yeah.
and
Seriously.
and think that that's the only way you can make your kid tough like you.
Yeah,
And so that's one I wanted to discuss and unpack. The second thing I wanted to talk about was like, you talked about like a change of scenery, of you needed to make a change,
yeah,
and I feel like a lot of people need to hear that as well. That and this is something that I always encourage a lot of kids. That I feel like it's very important for us to take some time away. Um, what's the best way to word this? I want to word this so that people don't like confuse what I say. Okay, step outside your culture and from your home, from your people, but don't step away from it, if that makes sense. Take some time to step outside of it so you can figure out your own thoughts and your own feelings of, and also like challenge what you know or what you've been taught, especially if your house is toxic, especially if you grow up in a toxic or broken home, right? You need, because like I said, you have to understand, and you said this very perfectly in your story. Like you realize it. You said that there are always people out there that's willing to help you and love you.
Yeah.
All right. And there's always good people out there, but you have to reach out to them, right? And that's why it's so important to like step outside of it, to know that there's other people out there. And if you're not happy right now, and that's something like I had to do for myself. Like I remember I shared with you, I moved here to LA, right? And the reason why I moved here, because I feel like the LA is like aligns with my passion, especially when it comes to podcasting and motivation. That's why I moved out here. But the other reason why I moved out here, because I feel like living back in the Bay, there was just a lot of like, for me, I just felt like that every single time I did something, that there's always going to be that criticism, hate that I feel for my family. Okay. And I needed just to step outside of that and just like, and be here by myself, where I can just kind of do things for my own life and not feel that criticism and that energy you feel like as a Polynesian kid.
Yeah.
And ever since I've been here, I just felt so free and so peaceful, where I don't have to like worry about hearing somebody's thoughts about what I'm doing about my life. Yeah. I can just live my life the way I want to live without any people's criticism or judgment. And if I make mistakes here, I'll deal with my own mistakes by myself without any extra criticism, right? And I feel like that for a lot of kids, like you said, like they stay in those cycles and they never get outside of it. And I feel like that it's very important. Whether you don't have to move to a different island.
No, yeah, like it's not about like completely moving, but
change something.
At least for a little bit, even if it's like for like a week or something. Yeah, like something way out of the normal positioning that they're used to.
Out of like there's some like either like hang out with new people, new friends, get your own place. Move different. Like just make a change. Yeah, and get outside what you've been taught and what you know, because I feel like you said, like if you don't know that there's a different side and challenge yourself, then all you know is what your parents taught you.
Seriously,
right?
And I feel like because the Polynesian community or Pacific Islander community, a lot of it tends because of the expectations of our parents, and people that have raised us, kind of. Because like I always felt that because personally I'm a perfectionist, so my aunt raising me, I wanted everything to be perfect for her. Everything had to be the way that it had to be for her. My mom's sister, who also raised us, like I tried so hard to be that perfect person for them.
Yeah.
That I was like it's not about you, it's about them. And I was always so worried about how people were gonna, say stuff to them. They're gonna be like, oh, you raised Apaaus that way, that's why she does that. Or blaming my parent, blaming my aunts, my uncles, and my parents. Like that's what always worried me. Like that's why I tried my best to stay in my comfort zone. I was like, oh, don't do this, like don't go out and do that, don't be like this person. And because I always felt like it's always gonna come back to my, like judgment is coming right back to my parents or my aunts that raised me. Like it's not coming back to me. And I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why kids just don't they just sit in their comfort zone, and why they're used to what they're used to and just do what they're used to. Because sometimes I feel like they forget about themselves and their own experiences and their own growth.
Well, that's how we're raised, right? Like, we're raised to listen to everything our parents tell us.
Yeah.
And what our parents tell us is always right. And our whole, and of course, especially our culture, like where we're is very like do everything else for other people except yourself. Like we always would take care of other people, which is a beautiful thing. But when it comes to like happiness, and it's all about self-love. Like you got to take care of yourself first before you take care of anybody.
Or before you take care of anybody else.
So, but we grew up in a mindset that okay, we have to please our parents. We have to listen to our parents. Our parents is always right. We have to respect the elders. The elders are always right. We have to put our family before ourselves. Our family needs is always more important than my own need, which is very toxic.
Very.
Right. And that's why so many kids find it really, really hard to go outside and leave.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I encourage, like, I feel like everybody needs to leave and go outside their culture. And like, that's why I came to LA, because I really wanted this, like, this podcasting I'm doing right now. I remember when I first started this, like, people thought it was stupid.
Oh, dude. I can see that. That was like me leaving the rugby. People were like, "She's not gonna make it." Like I remember that, and I was like,
and I remember when I posted, like, when I started doing this, and people thought like it was stupid, and people thought like I shouldn't be talking about certain things. And I realized for myself, as long as I stay in this area and this around my family, I'm always gonna feel this negative energy. And in order for me, I just needed to get away from that. And that's why I made this change where I could just get away from that and do myself and do myself. But I know one of the hard, and then of course the criticism most kids get when you do leave your house, like, you're fia palangi, tai ofa.
yeah,
You've right, or you don't value the culture no more. And that's why I said sometimes you need to step outside of the culture, but I'm not stepping away from it. I'm always gonna love my culture. Like, I'm always gonna be Tongan.
right.
All right. I'm always gonna love and who I am and what I've been taught, especially the good values of and the good things about our culture.
Yeah.
Right. So you can never take that away from me. But sometimes I do feel like we have to step outside of it, because so we can experience the world. We can experience different mentalities, different people, different way of thinking. Right.
Yeah.
If your whole life, if you grew up in your home, your whole life, all you've been thinking is like negative and hurtful thoughts. And if you want to start experiencing some positive, maybe you need to get outside of that home.
Yeah, leave, man.
Yeah, go talk to some, good-hearted people, happy people. Talk to people that want to reach out to you, want to help you. That don't always have a negative mindset. And so that's why I've always encouraged kids, like, to go outside of it. Whatever you need to experience it, and that's why I noticed, like you said, like that's why the cycles keep repeating. Because nobody in their family or none of the kids ever decide to step outside of it,
right?
And because when you do step outside of it, it is going to be hard. You're going to face a lot of criticism and judgment from everybody, but it's necessary,
right?